Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for October 11th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and I'm here today to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 25 live feeds. It was day 70 in the house, aka the finale of Big Brother 10. so, uh, Here we are. We're going to talk through the day. Of course, Bowie's the HOH, and Cam and Cirie are on the block at this point. There's going to be some conversations. Cam's going to be talking through some things, and there's going to be plans for next week. And with me to talk through all of that is Maggie. How you doing, Maggie?
Hi, Taran. Hi, everybody. I'm good. It's fall time. It's Big Brother season still somehow. But, I'm ready. I'm here. I'm ready to chat about it all. It was sort of, the feats were fun yesterday. So it's going to be fun to get into.
Yes. Basically, I think what we have here is Cam just continuing to spiral. And then pretty much, I guess, like, people making fun of him for spiraling and ignoring pretty much everything he's saying, and then just planning for next week. It's one of those weeks. Like, he's already dumped everything he has. Nobody's really listening to him anymore. And people just want to sort of figure out what are they doing? Are they throwing the HOH? And the answer is yes, for pretty much most of the people.
Like, I can't. I mean, we're at final 9. Like, this is the moment. This is what's annoying to me. It's like, do you know what show you're on? This is when the moves need to be made. Like, this is when, in order to set up the end game that you want, like, I feel like there are 3 distinct phases to the season. There's the pre-jury where you got to be in that big alliance, trying to make your way through. There, like in Big Brother lore, you got to be in that big alliance. Then you hit the jury. You have to go hard, make a couple of really strong moves so that you set up your end game so that you can make it to the final 2, so that you're in the center of whatever's going to the final 2. And like the fact that they're like, nah, it's all right. This is good for us. We're still in the center. It's like, ah.
I think the most annoying part about all these players talking about throwing the HOH is that most of them won't. It's just wasted conversation, because when they get there, they'll probably just try to win anyway, because that's what people tend to do. It's very rare that you actually get somebody just straight up throwing to anybody that will be thrown to, and so people just end up competing for it anyway, and it's just wasted air. But we're gonna talk through all of it, of course. Cam has been backdoored, and he is gonna talk to Corey in the morning in their robes in the nomination chairs. Still a no? I mean, I don't want to be a dick, but
Corey's a lost cause. And I mean, you should know how much of a lost cause Corey is after his conversation with America that happens like 30 minutes later. But yeah.
yeah, he's like, I'm a shield. It's like, you're a scary shield, dude.
Yeah, you're not a shield if you can win and actively target me. That doesn't make you
Mhm.
a shield.
He starts talking, those two, Jag and Matt, they have the game rolled up. Okay, fine. I get it. Keeping me means you have to change all your plans, change what you have lined up. I wouldn't ask you to do that. But he does ask, well, what would you have done if you had won HOH this week? Where he's like, target you. Like, well, that makes me feel better. I was only going to do that after I heard you almost backdoored me. Well, I almost backdoored you because everyone else wanted it to happen. Then why didn't it happen? Because they wanted you to stay to go out to be Blue's target.
And that's the issue, is that like that is the truth, right? Like they sort of set it up and then they backtracked. But
Mm-hmm.
like when you present it to somebody like, well, I only did it because everybody wanted me to. And then the reason that I didn't do it is because Matt and Jag didn't want me to so much. Like people are like, of course, if I'm hearing that, if I'm Corey in America hearing that, I'm like, great, they defended us to you. Like, what do you want me to do with that information?
Yeah, I mean, the reality of it is that at the end of the day, when it matters most who didn't want to do it.
Yep.
Like, they could have wanted to and then backed off, and then them wanting to got him to want to do it, and then he wanted to, but he didn't back off. They did. So, like, that's the thing that matters the
It's
most.
so convoluted. The way halfway through what you just said, I was like, and then they backed off, and then they did the back off, and the it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What level of metagame are we on where it's
'Cause,
like,
like, I guess, like, the main thing is, and not to say that Corey is fully on this level either, because he does trust Matt and Jag more than he should, but, like, Cam is just consistently, persistently in an anti-Corey state. Just ready to be activated by anybody giving him permission to go after Corey. So, yes, Matt and Jag at one point gave him the permission, but then
sorry. I
they
just think
stopped.
of him as like a robot where like you have to put in the code and then he'll do like what he's programmed to do. But then
Yes.
they pulled like the fail switch or whatever because they were like, oh gosh, we set him off and now we got to pull the fail switch so that he stops.
Yes. He is an anti-Corey Terminator. And the second anybody presses the button, he gets activated against Corey. And right now, nobody's pressing the button anymore. And so he's like, so I'm not coming after you, see?
Mhm.
He's like, but you're designed to target me.
And they all have the code. Like,
Mhm.
it's not like I'm the only person who has the code.
Yeah. Corey is later going to recount this conversation to I think Bowie, Jag, and maybe Blue. And this is how he describes it.
What would you have done? I'm like, I would have targeted you. You would have targeted me? I'm like, yeah, I would have targeted you. He's like, well, that makes me feel better. I'm like, I'm glad.
Good.
It's good to hear. And the truth is, I would have put Daddy up. You know what I mean?
Oh, stop, dude.
Daddy would have gone on the block, and I
Wait,
would have tried to beat Daddy on the
can you-
veto, and then Daddy would have gone home.
Oh, that is.
If I vote
crazy.
6-0, Daddy
You have
been
an
evicted from the Big Brother house.
Instead-
Wait,
Why-
tell-
Why did you do that? Why would you do that to all of us?
I did listen. Corey did it, not me.
Why? Well, you know what? Actually, this is classic Taran because you didn't want to have to say that. You knew it was a good clip, and you didn't want the clip of you going around saying that infamous Polly Calafiore clip of you talking about the subs.
Oh, see, this is where you're wrong. I had to make the judgment call. Do I get to say it, or does Daddy Corey have to say it?
Oh my god. Oh, gross. Gross.
Corey talks to Bowie. He tells her about Cam's pitch. He talks to America. Obviously, they're not going to go along with it. He tells Bowie, though, that he says, here's the thing. I trust Matt and Jag because I know that if they took a shot at me, you'd be pissed at them. Bowie's like, right. Yes, I agree. That's exactly correct, Corey. He's like, yeah, we hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah. Just like the most classic Corey misread. Like there's just a lot of misreading going on, obviously. I mean, there's a reason that at the top of this we were like, why is everybody throwing? Like the misreads are just flying around. And this is like, but this is also classic Corey, where I don't know how he's made it this far, honestly. Like it's a miracle that he's made it this far because he just like, I remember during Big Brother 20 when Tyler would be like, you know, like a knife's edge from everything crumbling. Like all it would take was two people like going together and having a conversation. And like Tyler would just be like walking slowly into the room, like unconcerned. Like that is Corey, but on like the opposite end where like it's a knife's edge of it like being successful and somehow every week it's successful and he's not targeted. But I mean the misreads are very strong. He's in so much danger. He's been in so much danger and he just doesn't, he just doesn't see any of it.
Well, so something else he talks to Cam about is that he's not really having fun. That he doesn't really want to be there anymore. And he's like, and I know that like later I'm gonna look back at this and I'm gonna be like, that was amazing, and I wish that I could have spent more time there and whatever. But like the idea of not being here is so appealing to me right now.
I don't blame him. Like I said, I literally like Izzy was at the RHAP event and I was like, I can't believe you're here. My entire nervous system would need a complete overhaul after even being in the house for like 5 days. Like, I don't blame him. It's a long game. Everybody's exhausted. Like, we've seen the way that Cirie is like, I'm so over this. And she's the most seasoned player, maybe like to be in one of these games. You know, she's been on basically every other reality TV show. It's a marathon. Like, it's a true marathon. And I think that for Corey, like his attention is now he has a girlfriend and like he has things to look forward to, like immediately after the game is over with his girlfriend that like
He's
he
already talking
can't.
about like meeting her parents. She's gonna meet
Yeah,
his. It's
like
gonna be weird.
like he is thinking about that more than he's thinking about the game. And like of course I'm like, get your head in the game, you know, like this is what you're here for. 3 years from now you're going to be so sad that your head wasn't in the game. I mean, maybe I don't know him or how he'll feel, but like I also understand psychologically, like it's been exhausting for him. He's been playing from the bottom like for the first half of the game. He flipped it. He totally mismanaged it. He has a girlfriend. There's this guy who's leaving this week who like is being weird about them. Like, I understand psychologically why he's like, I'm over it. But I mean, it's coming out in the gameplay that he's over it.
Yeah. So Matt and Jag are gonna have some conversations with Cirie and Felicia throughout the morning and really throughout the day. Bowie had sort of prepped this the day before as well. She had talked to the both of them about like, hey, a final 5 of me, Matt, Jag, you, and you two, Cirie and Felicia, which is pretty much the ideal final 5 that Matt and Jag are angling toward themselves, Bowie, Felicia, and Cirie. And then they would, you know, theoretically their plan would be take out Felicia at 5, and then you know, who knows what happens from there between Matt and Jag and Cirie. But that's what they're looking to get toward, and so they're gonna have some conversations. Jag talks to Cirie. How do you feel about next week? She's I rock with y'all. They talk about working together. She's somebody that Jag has always wanted to work with and wants to work with moving forward. And just lots of little talks here and there. It does decently well with Felicia, but Cirie is still pretty skeptical.
Yeah, I mean, like she's seen this before. Also, like, especially she trusts Matt at this point, you know, like much more than Jag.
More than Jag.
And yeah, much more than Jag. And I think that she just like understands that if she like her path is much harder. She wants that final 5 of the women because her path would be so much easier. And I completely get why she wants that, but she's got to figure out how she's going to make that happen. I have faith. It's Cirie. But you got to figure out how you can make that happen when these competitions are just going to be, you know, won by people like Matt and Jag.
Mm-hmm. So Matt and Jag talk again, and it's just really like so many little conversations throughout the day. So I'm doing a lot of summarizing here, but basically over the course of the day, they have those conversations with Cirie and Felicia. They're feeling better about that. And they're also talking more with Corey, and he's telling them about Daddy Cam, and it's getting them to feel more comfortable. And they start to flip again because they'd been on the side of let's get Corey out next. But they're starting to flip back over to maybe because we do want to work so closely with Cirie and Felicia, Blue is a little too close to Cirie. Maybe we do take Blue out next if we can. But that's all kind of null and void theoretically, because ideally we don't even want to win the HOH at all. We want just Blue or Corey to win so that they target each other, because they do genuinely believe that they are still targeting each other right now, which is true right now. Both Blue and Corey are targeting each other. However, you do still maintain the risk of that changing next week when the incentive is to dump everything that you have.
Yeah, and also, like, if America or Corey wins and they have Blue up there, who are they gonna put up next to Blue? And then if Blue wins the veto, what are they gonna do? Like, Blue only being one person is very dangerous for them.
I agree, because so the plan is theoretically Blue and Felicia. But you're correct. Like, there's gonna be 8 people in the house. 2 people won't be playing in the veto.
Mhm.
What if those 2 people are Matt and Jag, and now all of a sudden Blue is the best competitor in the veto?
Mhm.
Maybe even just one of them is competing, and Blue, who has actually done pretty well against the 2 of them, just happens to win one of these vetoes, and now all of a sudden, let's face it, it's Jag. Jag's
Yep.
screwed.
Mhm.
Jag's gone just like that. When there was no reason to be. When if because theoretically in this scenario they could have won HOH and they didn't. Just win the HOH, and now you're going into the following HOH, having taken out, say, Blue, if that's the person you're looking at the most
Mhm.
right now. Okay, now Corey and America are coming for you again, but at least now you have like a better shot of like Bowie or Matt or whoever winning the next
Mhm.
HOH, which is also probably going to have some physicality to it or
Or
whatever.
or even if in that next HOH, Corey or America win, there's only one person who doesn't play in the veto. And it like if you are up there with Matt, like and one of you guys come down, like if I'm Jag and I'm up there with Matt and one of them comes down and Bowie goes up, like then you have wiggle room. You know what I mean? Like versus if it's Corey in America and Blue's still in the house, like there's a back door that can 1000% happen.
Yeah. So listen, again, the thing is, I think this is a terrible plan from Jag mostly. Because Jag is the one that's going to pay the price for it most likely if it actually happens. But again, the thing is that like I don't actually think they will throw when it comes down to it. I think the scenario that allows for them to throw this HOH to specifically Blue or Corey or whoever is like what is it gonna be? Like, it's easy to throw questions. You just answer the wrong thing. But if this HOH is like, I mean, I guess if it's slip and slide, like they all think it might be, come on.
I
Like,
mean, I guess
how do they throw that?
Jag falls and is like, I'm hurt. I can't go on.
Like, they would have to like just dog it so hard.
Yeah, I mean,
Um
maybe there'll be an extra little bucket that says $5,000 and they'll go for
or
that.
safety, as they've been talking endlessly about. Um Either way, it's probably not worth that much discussion yet. So we will see what happens there. If they do throw it and they go home, that would be funny. Um,
Taran is over it. He's over it.
well, here's the problem. They're not the only ones that are going to start talking about
No,
trying to say
I
to it.
know. I was watching the feeds, but that's what I'm saying. You're over it. You're
Like,
fighting for
it's
whoever
easy. It's
throws.
easy to be like, these dummies. I can't believe they're talking about throwing the, but when half the house is doing it, it's like, what are we doing then?
It's like weird. This house is weirdly okay. This is what it is. It's amazing that we've gotten like 2 gigantic power shifts basically in the house because at their core, these players that are left, not Cirie, I think that she's different, but like at their core, these players who are left want to play like basically passively. Like they're sort of passive players. Like they want to react more than they want to plan ahead and like move forward. So I'm like, how did they have these power shifts? This is like, this is such a fun cast in that way. But I am like, I only this cast would have 90% of them wanting to throw at the final 9, but it's because they want other people to do it because they're passive.
Yeah, you know, we talked to Sophie about this a few weeks ago that I said that like the Big Brother game can only handle so many like structure collapses
Mhm.
before it becomes impossible to build more structures because
Mhm.
you had like the big Cirie structure fell apart, and then you had this like makeshift Matt and Jag structure that came
Yep.
after it. Now that's kind of fallen apart.
Mhm.
But the benefit of their structure was that even if it does fall apart, they still are in a winning spot because of just their physicality. Um, and so now everyone's just like playing no structure games. In fact, when Corey talks to America later in the night about like, hey, I talked to, you know, Cirie about like 4 of us. She's like, what? 4? No, no, we're not making another 4. That's not, whoa, no, that'll blow up.
Mhm.
Like people are terrified to make actual alliances because they all have blown up at this point. And so they're all just playing not on like relationships, but on incentives. They're playing like, okay, this is where everyone stands on the chessboard. If we make this move, then we leave ourselves exposed to this move. So ideally, we get somebody else to make this move so they're vulnerable, and then we make this move. The
Mhm.
problem is that everyone is thinking that way. And so
Mhm.
everyone is in this standoff of like who's going to take the
'Cause
first shot so that we can then pounce on them.
what is fascinating to me about this house is that, well, maybe it's not fascinating because they got rid of everybody who didn't conform within those first couple of weeks, but this house is very like they understand the house dynamics in a very specific way. Like everybody who's left like really understands the way that they have to play with each other, like what you're talking about. Like they're all afraid to make alliances. You're saying that, you know, all of the house can only take so many shakeups before things crumble. But also I think that like the way that Cerise smothered the game at the top of the game made everybody too afraid to like stick their neck out and go out in front. And like even when they did, it got blown up so quickly. Like I almost feel like this house is full of people who are like, okay, so we don't do that. You
Well,
know what I mean?
they've all they've all lied to each other so many
Mhm.
times and been caught lying to each other so many times that it's like they've all sort of recognized that there is no trust in this
Mhm.
house. Like nobody trusts anybody because they've all broken each other's trusts so many times over and over
Mhm.
and over that they've recognized, okay, this is just it. The only people that have trust are the pairs,
Mhm.
and Matt and Jag have one thing left over, which is Bowie. They have the Bowie trio of trust. But like even Cirie and Felicia, they're like, we don't really trust each other, but
But
we
we need
have to
each
be
other.
working
Yeah.
with
Uh-huh.
each other. Blue has a little bit of leftover trust in Matt and Jag as well, but also is just looking at incentives and looking to go after them eventually. Corey and America don't trust Matt and Jag, but they trust what they read as their incentives in the game. And so that's all that's left. There's no personal game left except for Cirie, where everyone kind of trusts Cirie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is such a fascinating conversation. Like the way that the house culture is so specific to a season. Like and it's so the thing about Big Brother that I love, and then we'll get back to the update and like less meta game. But like the thing about Big Brother that I love and like what it taps into that I love is that like we're talking about motivations, but and like experiences that people have that inform their actions. But like in this game, like from the second that they walk in, we've gotten to watch every interaction essentially that they've had with one another. So the reason that like Corey and America think that that Matt and Jag think that Corey and America are going to go after Blue is because of all of these little interactions along the way that we've seen that we can point directly to. It's just like so fascinating to see how we ended up here, like with all of these smaller moments throughout the season.
Yeah. Well, Corey or Cam is going to talk to America. He gives a pitch to her and Corey in the bathroom. He starts to, but before he can even really start, America is just like, I think it's done, Cam. You can give it a rest. You shouldn't have pitched our names to Bowie. And Cam is like, well, are you going to separate game from personal and still just at least hang out with me? It's like, I have no choice, Cam. She starts doing her hair.
Yeah.
It's silent. He's staring at her. And then from the bathroom, he's like, I can't poop in here with you two doing that out there.
Gross.
Cam says, I guess next time I play, I won't talk so much, so I'm not implicated in the things that everyone was in on. Merrick's like, I don't think it's implicated, Cam. Can I just talk without one of y'all debating me for a second? Jeez, what I was trying to say is that everyone was in on it. She's like, I know, Cam, and I don't care.
She's like, all right. She's got the curler. She's like, all right.
Oh, and let me tell you, those of you confused, what next time? What does he mean the next time I play? Oh, yes. Cam has been talking about how he has definitely done enough to be successful out of this house. He knows this for a fact. And here's the thing. He's probably being told that in the diary room, and he's also probably not wrong given his edit.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, I think that we've already spoken about this on the podcast, that like I think a future AFP is in the works here, but we know the truth, feeders. We know the truth.
So Cam ends up like this. It goes back and forth. Cam leaves the conversation, goes into the scary room with Jag. She follows him in. She's like, "Are we done?" Like, Jag, he was just throwing you under the bus to me. We hadn't finished the conversation.
Wait, you missed the part where he pointed at her and said, "You're incorrigible," and got up and left.
I mean, she's incorrigible. What can we say?
Like, all right, incorrigible. What is this, Pride and Prejudice?
Well, yeah, Emily Dickinson.
Give me a break. Incorrigible. I think that I would hold on to that forever if somebody in the Big Brother house called me incorrigible.
Incorrigible. She leaves. Cam talks to Jag. And Cam's like, all right, Jag. Don't give me the silent Jag thing. Give it to me real. I'll give you an offer. If you just let me know what the hell went on, I'll give you my vote in the end. I think you deserve it. Jag's like, classic Jag in a confrontation. I mean, you know what's going on. You're on the block. Cam's like, no, that's not what I'm trying to. Oh my God. Hold on. I just need to quickly. That was the joke. That was the joke. Cam is like, listen, well, Corey is telling me no, which means I can't stay. He has too many things set up. He doesn't want to change that. Corey's got too many things. So I just want an explanation of what happened this week. Jag's like, well, that night we talked and you'd said some things and then you got put on the block. Cam's like, you didn't say anything just then. You didn't say anything at all. Just tell me why. It's like, I just told you.
Oh
Okay.
my God. And I do appreciate Cam being like, you just said words. Those were just words. That wasn't. Oh my God, it's so good. It's like Jag's face was exactly like Jag's face when he was in that chicken suit. And Miss Felicia brought him into that room. Oh my God, it's so good. So good. No, he also was like, well, we talked about it the night before. It's okay. All right.
Let's face it, though. Cam will definitely still vote for Jag because as long as he's up against a woman. So retells continue of this argument. That's when we get Daddy Cam. And more discussions take place. Felicia and Cirie, they keep talking about what they want to do. Felicia's idea is that, okay, yes, Matt and Jag are a problem, but you think about it, the biggest issue is that we need the women to all work together. There's 5 of us left in this game. All of us need to work together, but stupid America wants to go after Blue because stupid Blue won't stop going after Corey. So we need to just resolve this situation and just get rid of Corey. If we get rid of Corey, then all of the women can work together against Matt and Jag. And we can take Jag out, and then we can bring Matt to the end. But until Corey leaves, America and Blue are going after each other, and they're sitting pretty. So we just need to get Corey out.
I see where her logic is in that. Like, I do. But like, who do you think is going to win the competitions to get out Matt and Jag? Like, the competitions just are such a sticking point, and it's very, very difficult for me to get. Like, if I'm in that house, immediately I'm like, who's going to win competitions? We got to get them out. Like, I think that it's very hard. It's very hard for them to make that plan work if Matt and Jag are trading off HOHs and vetoes.
Yeah. I mean, there is like maybe an interesting scenario here where it's like if you're Cirie and Felicia, and you're talking about the physical competitions that Matt and Jagger are all going to win. The fact is that Cirie and Felicia lose to Corey and Blue too. Like the difference between Corey and Blue and Matt and Jag for them in physical competitions is pretty negligible. It's now a matter of like, what about the other competitions that we have a shot at? And so
I do feel like though, okay, yes, but Matt and Jag beat them in a final 2 seat every time. Corey and Blue, I feel like it's a different story.
yes. And that's why I think Cirie is still like, we need to make sure that they aren't like running this show. But in terms of like competitions alone, I do think there's an interesting path of thought for specifically Cirie and Felicia that doesn't have to follow the same line that maybe a Corey or a Blue should be thinking. Because for Corey and Blue, taking out Matt and Jag means I get to start winning way more competitions. But for Cirie and Felicia, it is a lot more about, you know, who do I think will actually be more beneficial to me if I try to set something up in an end game. And specifically for Cirie, I actually don't think that's Corey. I don't want Corey there if I'm Cirie, because Corey is the person that has beat Cirie in competitions the most. He outperforms her in more competitions than anybody else in the game, specifically because he consistently outperforms her in quizzes, which is her best style of competition. And he also is the person I think least likely to ever bring Cirie to the final two. Because he's more than anybody aware of how sort of dangerous she would be in a final 2 scenario.
I mean, I don't disagree. And I do think that like for Cirie and Felicia, like I understand why Cirie's like, I want Jag first, then Corey. Like I do. Now that we're talking it through, I do think that the difference between the two is sort of negligible, but also you would then get more time to bring America in. And if you're not the ones taking out Corey, you can spend that whole time like, you know, helping her, being her listening ear, you know, like really bring her in, especially like Cirie and Felicia are like the 2 older women in the house so that they can sort of comfort her, you know, make her feel like she's with the aunties, you know, like I don't know. I guess I don't have an opinion either way. I think that if I was in their position, I would just want Jag because he's so good at everything. But I don't think that that's the worst idea.
I mean, I think that they're both kind of right. I think that for Felicia, it does make sense, not necessarily for them to win and target Corey, but like their ideal scenario if they don't win is that Corey leaves more so than like Blue leaves. Certainly way more so than Blue leaves.
Yeah.
And certainly the ideal scenario would be Jag leaves. That's super great for them. Jag leaving means that Blue is still after Corey, Corey's still after Blue, and they get Matt. So that's their best case scenario. And if they win HOH and they can take out Jag, that really works very well for them. And so Jag, I think, is the ideal target. But I do also think that Felicia has the right idea of it.
Yeah.
And as does Cirie, that after Jag, Felicia kind of switches them, thinks Corey first, then Jag. But Cirie, I think, has the most right of it. Jag first, then Corey. And now all of a sudden, you're in a really, really great spot. I think Blue is the most valuable asset to Cirie specifically because she beats Blue,
1000%.
and Blue probably takes her to the final two.
Yep.
And so
And she can win.
Exactly. So I think Cirie should absolutely want Blue to stay at almost any cost. Felicia's also valuable to Cirie because Felicia being in the final three means she has a shot at making it to part three. So those two, I think, are the people she needs to protect the most. And then, from there, it's just, how do you move forward? And all of this would be irrelevant because you're probably just not going to beat Matt and Jag in these comps, except they are thinking about throwing them. So
yeah,
who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll see what they decide to do.
So for Matt, Jag, and Bowie, they're talking things through, and Matt and Jag think that their conversations with Felicia and Cirie have gone pretty well, and that their goal is to get to the final five with them. They think that if they can get Blue, Corey, or America to win the HOH and take each other out, they'll be set moving forward. And they, again, are starting to swing back toward the Blue idea of we take out Blue first, we cut off how close she is with Cirie, that's better for us. And then, Cirie and Felicia will still be after Corey and America, and we can just start tanking competitions or dominating the competitions, I should say. So that's where their head space is right now. They're starting to lean back toward taking Blue out first, which does make a little bit of sense for them because it does cut off Cirie, but it does leave Corey and America in there. But it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But they should win and do it.
Yeah. We talked this to death.
Meanwhile, Blue is talking to Cirie about how she, guess what, wants to throw the HOH to Matt or Jag so that they can take out Corey for them. And then they will be able to take the shot at Jag the following week. And then once Jag and Corey are both out of the house, all the women can work together. It's the same plan with a different method, which is throw it to Matt and Jag. Cirie's like, we can't trust Matt and Jag to do that. And Blue's like, nah, we can. We're with us for now. And this is the biggest threat, I think, to Cirie is Blue throwing this HOH, because Blue winning and taking out Corey would not be bad for Cirie.
It's like Blue, we just were like, Blue is the biggest asset, like, to Cirie's game. Like, Blue can win. She'd take her to final three, all this stuff. But Blue is not good at Big Brother. So, like, she makes these unforced errors all the time. I'm sorry, I shouldn't make a sweeping statement like that. I don't, it remains to be seen throughout the rest of the season. But she makes all of these unforced errors that are not good at all for Cirie's longevity. Like, something like this is like, what? And she won't listen to her, it's so frustrating.
Yeah. So, and really, ideally, Blue wins, takes out Jag. That would be the best case scenario for Cirie. And really one of Blue's only hopes moving forward, because if she takes out Jag, the problem is that she still has to deal with Corey. But like, there's just like the issue I think that a lot of these players are facing is that none of them see a clear path to the end. They all see it getting a little rocky. And for some, it's a lot rockier than others. Blue has an extremely rocky path ahead of her. Corey and America have extremely rocky paths ahead of them. Corey at least does. And America has a rocky path to winning. Cirie has
I sort of feel like once Corey leaves, you can kind of pencil America in for final two.
Yes. Well, maybe not final two, but close to it.
Yeah.
Maybe. And so Cirie has like a fairly clear path to both getting toward the end and potentially winning. But it's just a matter of like how does she increase her odds of getting there. And then, but it's also still rocky in the sense that like she's not really in control of her own destiny.
Mhm.
And then Matt and Jag, they are in this fantastic spot. They have the clearest path, but it's not slippery smooth. It's not
Mhm.
brigade. It's not the, the hitmen. It's not, the committee.
Cookout.
It's,
Mhm.
it's not the cookout. It's just it's like, well, if we do this, we'll just have to keep winning. And they can't figure out how to
It's
guarantee
the
that they
it's
lock it in.
it's the Jackson Mickey Holly route. You just
Yes.
win.
It is. I was thinking about this yesterday. That it actually this house kind of reminds me of like Big Brother Canada 6 a little bit.
Very
Um,
much.
with
Very
with
much
all
so.
of the different like factions and everything. Where like Corey is kind of like the Paris right now, where he's been an active part of the strategy, but his reads aren't always great, and he's constantly talking about throwing things that he shouldn't. And he has like his person, which is not a trio, but at least one person, but also like not really winning any comps. Um, and then Matt and Jag are kind of like the showmans, whose
Kayla
names
and
Kayla and Derek,
yeah.
um, who are just kind of like in the driver's seat right now and winning the comps, but they will have to continue to win the comps if they really want to continue to be like in the driver's seat. Um, and then it gets a little messier from there because there's no Johnny, but um, you
I
know,
disagree that Corey is like the Paris because Paris was never the target. Like she was in a trio and she was like at the bottom target of that trio.
I mean, that's true. Corey's not like the person who's going to like in terms of positioning, he is not the Paris, but in terms of like their style of play, I think that it's a little it kind of I think Paris was a better social player. But which is part of why I think she was in that spot.
No,
But
but I also think that I mean, maybe I'm totally wrong. You covered the season live, but like I think during the season people viewed Paris like the America.
um I don't. I mean, there was the perception of her. Yes.
Yeah.
Like people came out of the house saying they weren't going to vote for her.
Mhm.
But
And the fans too, like didn't
right.
respect her.
That's so. I'm not talking about perception. I'm talking about their style of play. I thought was
Okay.
was interesting to me. I was seeing a connection because of how the way that she would operate in the game is similar to him, but she was better at doing it than he is. And sort of like the way that it's positioned against these two comp beasts who are like just making like winning the competitions, and
Mhm.
having to sort of like leech off of them in a way, and hope that they think that he's so non-threatening that they don't bother to take the shot,
Mhm.
until he's able to. And like his path to win, I think, is the same as Paris's, where it's like he just has to win. He just has to comp out at the end, which is a little less likely than it was even there, I think. But um, sure, it's not even close to a one-to-one. It's just a
I
light
was about to
connection that I
say
noticed.
I was about to say, I see it. I don't think it's quite 1 to 1, but I see it.
I mean, that was such a unique season. I think it's interesting to me that I'm even getting any sort of connection to it at all because it doesn't really exist anywhere else. But um, we're gonna keep going through this. Cam keeps saying the same things. Corey says to him at one point, "Here's the problem, Cam. No matter who comes through the door of that jury house, you're gonna say I told you so." I was like, "No, that's not true."
Get him. Get him.
Um, Cirie and America talk about how they still need to target Blue. America doesn't believe that Blue is not targeting them, even though they had a conversation. Their plan is still that. It's still to target Blue. They still think that that's the path they need to take moving forward. Cirie and Felicia talk some more. They say Cirie thinks if they win, they just need to straight up put both Matt and Jag on the block and take out Jag. And Felicia is kind of down for it, but also kind of still feels like Cirie might be the play. And because they're so focused on Jag, she has a conversation with Matt where she kind of is like, "Hey, Matt, what do you feel about Jag?"
Oh,
What do you think? What do you? I mean, I don't know if Jag wants to go to the final two with you. Do you? You know, like, what do you think about that? And Matt, of course, does his Matt thing where he is like, "Yes, I agree with everything that you're saying. Yes, I'm repeating it back to you." And this makes her feel even better about Matt. She's gonna be like, I think Matt could be on board with us if we take out Jag. And so Felicia's still a little bit back and forth. Should Cirie go first? Should Jag go first? Either way, they want to keep Matt around. And Cirie is mostly on board with that as well. Even though she thinks that Matt probably needs to go up on the block next to Jag, she also thinks that Jag is the problem, that Jag needs to go. Cirie and America talk to Felicia and Cirie, and Cirie really pitches hard for Blue to go with them. He says that, like, basically, if any of us win, we all target Blue, including Matt and Jag. If Blue wins, we try to push Bowie as the target. That's what Cirie is pitching. Felicia doesn't really love that pitch, which did not help Corey's case.
No, it's a silly pitch. I understand why he wants Blue because she's coming after him, but so are Matt and Jag.
Yeah, I mean, you know, actually pitching for like Felicia and Cirie to go after Blue instead of Matt and Jag is wild for Corey, because them going after Matt and Jag would be fantastic for him. But at the same time, he has expressed that he is concerned. He doesn't want to pitch Matt and Jag to them for fear of it getting back to Matt and Jag. So, you know, again, it's a lot of posturing throughout the day, and none of it is going to matter until the next HOH is crowned. I don't think this is a week where the plan is going to be set coming in. I think that somebody's going to win HOH, and then they're going to be like, okay, I know we decided on Blue, but let's have the conversation. And then they'll decide from there. And I don't think anything's going to be locked in until at least Thursday night.
Yeah, definitely. Once we see who wins and go from there. The only thing that's locked in right now, and maybe I should not say this on podcast, but the only thing that's locked in right now is Cam leaving.
Wrong.
Yeah. So, Cam, stop. You're being incorrigible.
Wrong. I've been being a good boy.
Okay. Yeah. My girl Cirie, hopefully everything stays the same and she stays.
Yes. All right. Well, anything else you wanted to bring up from
Nope.
yesterday?
I feel like we got into a lot of stuff today, a lot of meta level stuff.
All right. Well, that's what we have for you today then. Of course, it is Wednesday today. So maybe we'll get some more talk, but this is one of those weeks. It reminds me of a different season when this is how the game is normally played. The person on the block has absolutely nothing to contribute, basically. And so they're all just ignoring the person on the block and focusing on next week. The problem is that the focusing on next week is so just out there and not solid that none of that seems to matter either. And so this really just feels like a whole lot to do with about nothing. It's just like we got nothing really.
A lot of game stew.
Yes. So stay tuned for that, though. I'll be live tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, to update you on everything that does happen today on the Big Brother 25 live feeds. I'll let you know if anything has changed. And then tomorrow night we will have our eviction, and they did not say a live HOH, so I wouldn't get your hopes up for that. But by Friday we should know. We should have a much better idea of where the game will be heading soon. So stay tuned for all of that. I will be live on Twitch tonight, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, watching tonight's episode of Survivor live with all of you. And then I'll be live tomorrow night as well, of course, watching the eviction episode. We'll be having a recap after that. Make sure you also head over to Post Show Recaps. I did a Wheel of Time season 2 finale podcast with them over there. And we're also gonna have something for you today, a little treat for you today as well, Big Brother related. So stay tuned for that.
Ooh.
Also, Maggie, what do you got going on?
Yeah, well, I can't wait to get the sneak peek of what that is once we are done being live.
I don't know if it's been announced yet.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I can't wait. I know it. You'll tell me once this is
For all
over.
I know, the chat already knows, but I don't know.
So yeah, what do I have going on? Not a whole lot. You can just find me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads at @mlmorgan_. You can keep up with everything that I'm doing. So yeah.
All right. Well, that's what we have for you then. Thank you all so much for joining us here today, and I will see all of you